folks, let's begin the work session here. And first thing I'd ask for is a motion to approve the minutes from November meeting.
Second.
Okay, a motion to approve the minutes in a second. All those in favor? Aye. Another thorough job, Allison, thank you. Okay, tonight's, we don't have anything tabled, right?
No.
Okay. Another good end of year, yes. Number one, any questions for clarification purposes on this?
There has been a submittal for a new plan for that, for number one.
Oh, yes,
It's in here.
outside. I forgot about that.
Really?
Are you familiar enough with it to give us the thumbnail version?
Yeah, he's reduced the size of the shed.
Okay, well, that's good.
Reduced the size of it from the 20 by 20 that was originally proposed to 12 by 16. And I believe the original shed was proposed at, let me see where it was.
So they moved the house then too?
No, I don't think so. The house is still at 34 feet.
The shed was gonna be bigger, but now it's not. Does
But the
it
shed
fall
had the
in,
same side setbacks, didn't it?
The shed still has, or well,
Oh, maybe it did
it's
move.
still,
Okay, yeah, he
the
had,
shed is still gonna comply with the 10-foot side setback. The rear setback is only 10 feet for a shed anyway, so it didn't violate that end of the.
It was just the size.
But the front is still gonna be, it was originally proposed at 38 feet from the road right away. Now I scaled it off to 42 feet. And I guess we should just, like I said, I scaled it, but we may want to just ask the applicant when we're going through the process.
Sure.
What that number really is, but I scaled it to be 42 feet.
Okay.
And did you say the size of the shed smaller?
It went from 20 by 20 to 12 by 16.
So is it now in code? Is it under 208
The
square
size.
foot?
It's in compliance with the size. It still doesn't comply with the setback requirement from the road right away.
But he doesn't need a variance for the
Size of it.
size.
size.
Where's the 40 feet?
From
Excuse
the
me?
road, I think.
Still seems to say 34.
That's for the house.
Okay.
Move your pen to the right a little bit.
Yeah, here.
That,
You got
the
20.
the shed there, I scaled it, like I said, to be 42 feet.
well, it's marked
Originally, it was at 30.
27, 16
Yep.
to the fence.
And
And then beyond that, whatever the fence was back from the road, which is what, probably 20?
Huh?
You got 27, you got 27, 16 plus or
This is the
minus.
right away here.
No, but you got 27, 16, and then that's
But no,
probably
this,
20?
yeah, no, it's not. This is the center line of the road.
Okay.
The right of way is right here.
Yep.
This line here is the right of way. that cuts across
Oh,
here.
okay, you got
So
those.
it's
Yeah,
just.
so 27, 16.
Right.
So Dan, what will we do with this? Since they're going, we'll just table it, or after we?
Yeah, we're still waiting to hear from planning board.
Yeah, the planning board hasn't accepted lead agency on this, so.
Okay, so hear the application, ask questions, and table.
Right. Everybody got one of these, right?
I did not.
You didn't get one?
I got one.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay, on to number two. Any questions for clarification on
I
that?
don't have a question, but there are two sheds in that yard.
Okay.
One's not a shed, it's a playset. The one that's down, sort of going down the hill.
The back when the woman, the wife said it was a shed that was there. It's not the place that, she said it's a shed.
There is a shed.
There's two sheds. There's one on the right as you go down the hill.
Right,
You know,
that's-
just in the yard,
That's not a shed, that's a playset. It's a play equipment.
or whatever it is, yeah.
We don't regulate it under the code.
You don't regulate that?
We don't regulate that under the code.
You guys, both sure you're talking about the same thing?
What I'm talking about as being the playset is this structure here.
It says playset?
Right.
Well, I'm talking about as you go in the yard,
Right.
okay, on the right.
Uh-huh.
In the
Straight
corner,
back.
there's something that goes this way.
There's a shed.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the shed. Do you call that a shed?
Yes, that is the shed.
That's the shed.
Right.
Then in the
Sounds like
back,
an Abbott
go
Costello.
over to the left and goes on the other side of the fence. Even though it's a fence, she said it was there when they moved in.
It's not surveyed.
She said it's their shed and it's their property.
This structure here,
In the back of the yard, on the other
right,
side.
that's a playset.
Okay, she called it a shed and she said it was there.
Well, I mean, whatever you call it, but it's up to him to determine whether it's a structure that
It's shown on
is
the,
regulated.
it's shown on here as being a playhouse, and I saw it, I thought it was a playhouse also.
Okay.
And you're talking about the black thing in the back.
I don't know what color it was. Before Thanksgiving when I was out there. But a small detail on that, that shed that you were referring to on the right side, I went out there yesterday, they moved it off the property line.
Okay.
So it theoretically is in compliance. They should have an updated survey map to demonstrate that, because
Okay.
that was their intent, to bring it into compliance
Okay.
with the setback requirement. So I'm hoping that the applicant is going to bring in a revised survey map that wasn't available when I was out there yesterday. And that does comply with the requirements for the size.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
8 by 8 or 8 by 10. So it was-
Yeah, it wasn't the size, it was the setback.
Well,
that I was
based on this
concerned.
survey, it was 7 inches over the property line. So, you know, my discussions with him at the time was, look, the board can't grant you a variance for being over the property
Over
line.
the property.
You gotta move it, and once you start moving it to get it on the property, the board's gonna say, you don't have any reason why you couldn't move it in compliance.
Right.
So,
Okay, number 3, same thing. Any questions for clarification? Kind of a thick application, but not all that
Not that, yeah, not a
complicated.
bit.
No. Right. Pizza. Number 5, any questions for clarification on
Yeah,
this?
you know, he has to be open till 2 o'clock. Okay, he doesn't say how many days. But in the last one, you know, what was granted before, it was
Oh,
Wednesday,
I thought
3
there
to
were some-
12.
I thought it was every day. I'm
No,
sorry.
Wednesday, 3 to 12, and, well, I don't know, maybe it is.
I'm talking about the request, I'm sorry, not the, go ahead.
It says Wednesdays from 3 to 12 and Thursday through Sunday from 3 to 2:30 a.m. Why 2:30 or why 2?
That's the application, Sunday through
Okay.
Saturday, 11 to 2.
Okay. So in other words, we okayed one that was 2:30 last time, 3 to 2:30, and this is still 2. I mean, I'm interested in the law, I don't know. If you serve drinks till 2 o'clock, do you have to be open till 2:30 in order for them to consume them? Or do you say 2 o'clock and then it's over? or-
I don't know the law relative to what is provided under alcohol and beverage serving,
Well,
so.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, we granted it
I don't
from
think you
3 to
have to drink the
2:30
light, too.
before.
I don't know.
I think
No,
have to
you
be
order it
served.
by
Stop
2.
serving.
But
Stop serving.
does the law say you have to be open till like only 2:30?
Well, maybe-
I know that.
Maybe
That's
last
our-
call is 1:45 then.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm just wondering why the discrepancy
between
between what we had granted. It was,
previously to the previous operator.
yeah, it was Thursday through Sunday, 3 to 2:30. Okay?
The
he
only
wants
thing I
it
can
till
say
2.
is that that's what was requested at the
Okay,
time.
sounds fine to me.
The
No
code,
problem.
the district will only allow operation till 11 o'clock. So that's why.
Okay,
it had
so
to be-
this was a special that they got it till 2.
Right, same way we wrote it in the legal, in the previous application to allow it to go for legal.
Okay, sounds good. So he's asking it for all the time, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Any other questions on that one? Okay. Plenty of time. And the last one.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Well, before we get into the questions, the sign package, because they've revised their sign package, I've recommended that they pull it from consideration for tonight and come back in February, and they've agreed. They're gonna resubmit a whole sign package. They had proposed some things that I didn't advertise from the previous proposal, so it didn't make any sense to break it up into 2 different applications.
So we're just doing setbacks and parking tonight?
Setback and parking.
Okay.
Building setback and parking,
Right.
right?
Okay. Just out of curiosity then, the second sign in the back that they still want, I guess. Is that allowed without a variance? Not location, but
The second sign.
there was a
the-
second sign
A
facing.
freestanding sign or
facing the
building
park.
on a sign?
Freestanding.
Freestanding sign,
Doesn't that give them 2 freestanding and 1 building
well,
on it?
and this is one of the things I needed to sit down and go through the application with them on it, because there is a component in the code to allow for informational signage in that district area.
Right.
And it does allow for a large sign. than the standard 20 square feet per face. But the presumption is that other parties are going to be part of that sign, so there would be numbers of uses on it. The one catch to that is the code only allows those informational signs to be on Penfield Road or on Fairport 9 Mile Park Road. So that sign technically would be on Harris Whalen Park Road. So if they wanted to proceed under that informational signage component, they would have to ask for a request from relief from that component, and where they had placed it was also too close to the road anyway. So there was a couple of items relative to that informational signage that is going to be,
Okay. So I'll let you shake that out before we go any
yeah.
further. No sense in
So
asking.
the new legal will address that depending on how they want to go forward, whether under informational signage or freestanding signage.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions on that one? All right, we've already approved the minutes, so we'll recess now for about 15 minutes. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is going to be in two parts. The first part will be our public hearings, during which we'll ask the applicant to come up to the podium and give us name and address, and then explain to the board why the relief requested should be granted. Once the applicant is done with the presentation, board members will have some questions, and then we'll invite anyone in the audience that cares to come up and speak about the application to do the same thing. Come on up, give us name and address, and then ask questions or make comments about the application. After the public hearings are adjourned, we'll take a brief recess and reconvene in the back of the room to deliberate on tonight's applications and to take care of any unfinished business that the board may have. Members of the public are certainly welcome at both the public hearings and the deliberations, although deliberations generally are times reserved for conversations amongst board members with staff, and with council. We have a fairly long agenda tonight, so you're certainly, as I said, welcome to stay. If you don't want to or you need to leave, you can call tomorrow, Harold or Allison, and find out what action, if any, the board took on a particular item. I always like to point out every month that it's a town's practice and policy to do many things to alert neighbors that live near applications and the general public that certain applications are being heard. And the town does this so that everybody is fully informed of their rights to come in and speak about the applications. We think it works well, and we'll continue to do that. And having said that, I'd ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And on our first application tonight, there's actually a pending action simultaneously with our planning board. So there are some environmental law questions that need to be answered before we can make a decision on this. So while we will be entertaining the application, we will not be taking a vote on it tonight. Harold, may we have the first application, please?
Application number 1, Peter Romeo, 309 Canterbury Road, Rochester, New York, 14607. On behalf of Jasmine Hegnognovic, request an area variance from Article 3-3-37-A and Article 3-3-35-D of the Code to allow the construction of a single-family residence with less setback and a shed with less setback and larger than allowed at 2775 Penfield Road. The property is owned by Jasmine Hegnognovic and is zoned RA-2. This is SBL number 141.01-1-15. This is application number 14Z-0060.
Anybody here?
Yep, and Jasmine's here.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Peter P. Romeo. I reside at 309 Canterbury Road in the city of Rochester, New York, and I have with me the owner of the property, Jasmine Hegnognovic. He came close.
I noticed his voice trailed down when he said that.
Each of you has a copy of the site plan that I have prepared. That is which is mounted on the board. If anybody cannot hear me, please clear your throat.
Isn't there a handheld mic underneath the thing there if you'd like?
mic right up by the board that picks up.
Where the erasers
I'm
are.
sorry, on the board.
Thank you.
Oh, is that an addition there, the one that's at the bottom of the board? That's nice.
The
The black square thing, yeah, the black box.
microphone down there.
Oh, so, okay.
It should pick you up fairly well. They'll let us know downstairs if they can't hear you.
Okay. In any case, this is the most current site plan, which I modified a couple days ago to reflect diminishing the size of the shed to that which is stated as a maximum, namely 192 square feet. Originally, I had shown it as a 20 by 20, which is 400 square feet. And then I was made to understand that the size limitation is based on the fact that the parcel size, the lot size is less than 1 acre. So accordingly, I diminished the size of the shed. Also, what I did is I diminished the distance between the shed and the end wall of the garage in order to provide more room to the west for a potential septic system leach field. Currently, there is a very old barn right at the in the northwest corner. You can't help but see it when you drive by because it almost attempts to be a passenger in your car if you're driving east. The intent is to remove that barn and to clean up the site, construct a one-story residence with a walkout basement along its full south side. The topography of the lot is conducive to doing so. It literally calls out for a bi-level south wall. The owner also intends to plant these arborvitaes, which are currently stored on the property toward the south end of the site. Relative to the variance sought, since there is but one variance being sought at this point, currently zoning ordinance requires a 50-foot minimum front yard setback, that is from the right-of-way line, and a minimum of 30-foot rear yard setback. What I've done is I've shown the front yard setback to be 34 feet, plus or minus, and the rear yard setback at 20. If I were to construct anything on this site without seeking the variance, we would end up with a constructible area that's 2 feet north and south, all right, by 150 feet east-west. So therein lies briefly the rationale for seeking the variance. I have responded to the review planning group. In fact, I delivered the responses this morning. I'm aware of the vast majority of those since I've met with Mr. Kasman of Monroe County Department of Health, and I pursued the paperwork for a driveway permit through the New York State DOT. We have not made applications at this point because it's premature. If the request for this variance fails, then there's no need to feed more corn to the calves. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than pleased to try to answer.
Sure. Looking at the shed, is there any reason the shed was sought right now in terms of, needing that right now to offer the variance for it, as opposed to just making the garage bigger and then you wouldn't have to worry about a setback variance for the shed?
Sheds normally, well, unless my thinking is warped, if I had a small lawn tractor, I wouldn't put it in my garage, I'd put it in the shed. I do have a snow thrower, not very large. Luckily, my garage is closer to 24 by 24 because that's the way it was built in 1914. There are other lawn accessories that one can store in a shed that don't necessarily need to take up room in the garage. So I felt that the 12 by 16 was a suitable size for a shed to accommodate those things that don't necessarily get stored in the garage year-round.
Have you spoken to any of your neighbors, whether like the property to the south of you, in terms of any issues they may have with that or not?
Mr. Hagamanovich, you can
Come on up.
Sure.
I didn't talk to them about the issues or if they have any, Yeah, my name is Jasmine Heganovic, and I just did talk to them about possibility if I can buy a little bit, like 30 or 40 feet from them, so that way I get more. They not, willing to sell it or they don't have to. But I didn't ask anything to them about what they think, what they like, because I knew they're gonna find out from you guys, and, that's their opinion.
Okay.
But I did let them know what I'm planning. They knew, so.
Okay. Maybe back more to your architect. Are there any other designs that you looked at that could have made the house longer going east to west as opposed to, needing as much of a setback going north to south? That would have worked, or?
I actually designed a house to fit this footprint, all right? And the reason that it's 28 feet wide, all right, is that it needs to accommodate a three-bedroom house. And there's no way to squeeze 2 bedrooms, one on each side of a common hallway, right, in anything less than 28 feet. So that's the reason that the footprint was developed the way it has been developed. The other thing that has to be borne in mind, all right, is that because of the limited size of the parcel, all right, I could not forget about the pending issue, hopefully, all right, of providing enough ground area for a leach field. So that's why those two items in combination, to back up a bit. The third possibility would have been to take this shed, all right, and butt it to the garage. However, being butt to the garage, it may have come off as the little brother to a 2-car garage. Whereas with a distance separation, the exterior cladding can be different than the house and attached garage. And the roof slope can be significantly different than that proposed for the house and garage. So the shed is a utility structure. That's why it was detached. And with adequate space between them to negotiate around the end walls and maintain them properly.
That's all the questions I have.
I got one.
Sure.
Okay, so what you're saying is you had to offset the property in order to have room for the septic system, am I
Yeah.
correct? So if you put it in the middle, you wouldn't have enough distance to have it leach properly.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the subsoil is not the best of subsoils, nor is it the worst for septic systems. So, in fact, with the first plan that I did, I think I only had 10 feet between the west wall of the house and the east edge of the leach field. And I found out later that when I discussed the site plan with Mr. Kastman of the Department of Health, who was in charge of septic systems, that this should be 20 feet. So I accommodated that correction on this site plan, yet trying to maintain a reasonable width east-west for an anticipated leach field.
What is the total square footage of the house? A ballpark.
You're younger than I am, so you could probably figure it out quicker.
Well, how
than
do you
me.
know that? How do you know I'm younger than you?
Shall we bet? No. It's 44 by 28.
Okay.
880.
No, it's more than 800.
So you have, relatively speaking, a relatively small house on a small lot.
Or 40 by 20.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what has the property historically been used for? Do you know?
I've only been familiar with the site for maybe half a year or so. And it's been undeveloped. It's essentially, it's brush. And even the barn has limited usability.
Right.
I think some small birds have used it because of the gaps between the siding. But the pair of sliding doors on the north wall are somewhere, I think, between 3 and 4 feet below the shoulder grade. So maybe it was meant to be a goat hostel. I have no idea.
Yeah, if I had to guess, probably somebody owned that larger piece, sold it off but
Sold
wanted
it
the
off,
barn.
Yep.
So they kept the piece
Yeah.
with the barn, and that creates this problem.
Right, and my point in asking that question is we have a piece of property that's not really being used for any purpose. Sure, come on up.
Because I had the same question.
Yeah.
There was a friend of mine, which is related to the neighbors on the south. There was a milk house there. There was a bigger barn next to the barn already that is there now, and it was collapsed. I cleaned it off. There was a lot of storage, the cars, the old cars. There is still some like there. I couldn't clean it all. There is some still in the barn. So basically they use it for the storage. There was a little like a well house over the well. It's collapsed. I was thinking to fix it, but I didn't know what's gonna be from these. So that's what I'm, But what I find out, there was a lot of filters from the cars, oil filters, others. So basically whoever owned it, they use it as a storage outside and inside.
Did the owners live someplace else?
I think he did lives, last, his residence was down in Rushville or somewhere, Rushford, I don't know. That's how much, but I'm sure the neighbors on the south side, they know more, so
Okay.
it's all right.
Any other questions from the
I
board?
got one for, just Harold. Is the 10 feet enough distance between the shed and the house? Is there,
That would be sufficient. yeah.
okay.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, as I said earlier, oh, you coming up, sir? Yeah. Great.
I'm Matt Jewett. I live at 2771 Penfield Road, so I'm the south neighbor that you were talking about. Few questions, really, and I don't know the difference between a planning board and a zoning board, so if I'm not saying this is the right place, just tell me to come back Thursday. The first one that we had a question on was water drainage. As was mentioned, it is quite a slope from the road. I've never measured it. I'm going to tell you it's 12 to 15 feet slope down, and it's always wet. It's a very wet area. Catches the edge of our property, catches a little bit of the neighbors to our east, and then that property is very wet. So filling the property up with a house, driveway, shed, and septic system, I'm concerned about where that's all going to go.
Okay.
The parking area and line of sight when you pull out of our driveway, over the years, since there's been no parking there until very recently, if anybody's there, they park on the shoulder of the road, and we can't see at all to the east, to the right. It's completely blind.
Can
for
you
us.
show where that is on the map, where the cars
Sure.
would be parked?
This right here is my driveway shown
Okay.
on here. So the cars were typically historically parked along here, kind of where in front of the old barn, or the existing barn, towards where the driveway is proposed. So the reason I bring that up is I'm concerned due to the small lot size, and the driveway is only 30 feet long. That's not much room for parking, and if there's any overflow, I don't know where that'll go, but it's a concern I wanted to highlight due to the small parking area there. And my understanding of the original planned use of the property was for storage of commercial equipment, which is not allowed in the town without living there, of course. So I'm concerned about the volume of vehicles and equipment that's going to end up on that property and potentially creating that blockage area. The other questions I have is, my understanding is that area requires 2 acres. I actually thought it was 5, but somebody recently told me it was 2 to build a home on. And this being a half acre, obviously is a variance to that as well. And I didn't see that raised as an issue, so I'd be curious as to why there'd be a difference for that lot.
Just keep going through them and I'll address.
Okay. And again, my understanding of setbacks is been mentioned 50 feet and 30 feet, and being the south neighbor, I'm wondering what my role is in approving that and being on board with that as part of this process. So that's my notes and questions.
Let me go through them as you itemize them. There was a question about drainage.
Yes.
Typically, drainage concerns are handled through the planning process and through the engineer's office, town engineer. The town engineer will go through a full assessment of where the property is going to drain and make some determinations of whether or not there has to be some type of storage of water, keeping it from going onto.
Harold, your mic.
Sorry about that. Having it go off of their property onto adjacent properties. So that will be addressed by the engineer's office and the planning board through the site plan approval.
But let me interject there for a moment. That is an issue that's pertinent to us as well, if we think that by granting a variance, that may cause issues with drainage. So it's pertinent for us, for you to raise that here and for us to explore that.
Okay.
But in theory, under state law, this property should not add any more rate of, an increase of rate of water flow onto your property. It can be decreased, and that's where generally design professionals will incorporate some type of a detention facility to hold back the water, reduce the rate that it's leaving the property, but it's still going to leave the property because the drainage pattern inherently goes south to that ditch that runs between your
Right in the
north
front
property
yard,
line
yes.
and your house. So that's inherently where it's going to go. It's at the engineer's office and the planning board should ensure that it goes there at a slower rate, not at an increased rate, but at a slower rate.
Okay.
All right, so they should be addressing all that through the planning process. The driveway concerns are something that both this board and the planning board should be addressing, and along with the state DOT, and going through that permit process. They do have, and as required under our code, there'd be a turnaround to access onto a state highway or county highway so that people aren't backing out onto a Penfield Road, they're driving onto Penfield Road. So presumably, that should accommodate some additional traffic. If you have a large party, it's difficult. We would hope that neighbors would sort of share some parking ability. I've got a large driveway myself, a long driveway. If my neighbors have a party, they park on my driveway. We'd hope that there would be some communication between parties so that people can share some resources that may exist out there to reduce the traffic safety problems that come about with parties or events like that.
Yeah, my question wasn't a one-off situation, I agree with you, on a one-off situation, it was more of, I'm concerned about what vehicles may be there because the original intent was a commercial storage, it implies
Right.
more equipment, more vehicles.
And as you said, originally the application was applied for a use variance. And in discussions with the applicant, I made it pretty clear to him, I think, that the likelihood of him succeeding with an application for a use variance on this property was slim to remote. And then he's adjusted his application to go forward with an application that is a permitted use in this district.
Okay.
In going forward with the concerns about commercial vehicles, we do have a code, a law in the town that allows certain types of vehicles on the property. And if there's a situation where a vehicle comes to the property and is there on a daily basis, he will get a letter from our code enforcement officer saying that he can't be bringing those type of vehicles to the property. someone comes home for lunch or something like that, we don't have a problem with that. But if it's there regularly, overnight, you know, we're not going to tolerate that. That or any equipment, not just a vehicle. I mean, if he's bringing a trailer and it has backhoes or rollers or anything of that nature, if he's not using it on the property, it's not expected to be there. And like I said, the code enforcement officer will address that if we're made aware of it.
Okay.
The lot size. It is pre-existing non-conforming standard size. And historically,
Why don't you explain what that means, though, Harold?
Thank you.
the current requirement is a 2-acre size property. And this property, I want to say, is somewhere around a 0.4 of an acre. My understanding through conversation with the assessor's office is that this property was somehow created off of 2 or 3 other properties in and around the area. And they may have been across the street, I don't know. They were having a difficult time following the deeds on it because they were so old. But it was pretty clear to them it came from 2 or 3 other properties, maybe even, you know, part of it came from yours, part of it came from a property to the east, and part of it came from a property on the north. It was difficult for them to determine that. But it was done at a time when this size lot was acceptable in the zoning district. It was done prior to 1970. In 1981 is when the code changed significantly that required 2-acre size lots out there. So this, as far as the zoning code is concerned, is a pre-existing non-conforming use. And historically, we've allowed these properties to be developed in the permitted uses of the code as long as they can show that they can develop adequate driveways, septic systems, in this case, in this area, have proper water, gas, electric, and other utilities like that.
Okay. I think the last one was what's my role in approving the setback variance in the back.
You're fulfilling part
You're
of it right
fulfilling your role
now.
right now.
Okay.
Come in and raise any issues you
That's
think
right.
are appropriate to raise, demand answers, if you will, of us, of staff, of the applicant, and speak your piece.
Okay.
Until January 8th, I think.
Right, later this week.
Right,
And
and there'll be more opportunity for you to participate and have more in-depth discussions with the planning board relative to a lot of these other issues that you brought forward here, relative to the driveway, relative to drainage, you know, all these other things. And quite honestly, you've got every right to
Okay.
explore all the things that the planning board would go through for site plan approval.
Okay, so Thursday night's planning board, so I can ask the drainage question now?
Well, I'm going to ask him to address that.
Okay.
And certainly, I would ask it again Thursday, sure.
Okay. And
By the
then-
way, you also have legal rights as a property owner and a citizen, but, you know, you can explore that on your own if you want.
Okay. Then just last question, referring, you said there would be no vote tonight because of the order of the planning board.
Well-
Does that mean it'll be Thursday night, or it'll be your next meeting?
Our vote will not occur tonight, and it will not occur unless we have some special meeting or something, which none of us foresee that. It will not occur until at least our next meeting.
Okay.
There's a state environmental law that requires, when more than one agency is involved in reviewing it, it requires one agency to be designated as lead agency. And before any agency can take action, that designation must occur, and it has not happened yet.
Okay.
Planning board's probably going to do it soon.
Okay. Good.
It's my understanding the planning board expects to formalize that process Thursday night.
There you go. That would pave the way for us to make a decision on this.
And the planning board may or may not have another meeting subsequent to this meeting Thursday night relative to the seeker status. So you want to make sure that you have a very clear understanding if there's going to be another meeting or public hearings subsequent to this meeting Thursday night with the planning board.
Okay.
And
There
another
definitely
thing
will.
I'd encourage you to do, honestly, is stay in touch with them. If you have
Yes.
questions, ask them.
Yeah, we've
So,
spoken a couple
you're
times.
gonna,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, you may end up being neighbors, you are neighbors now. And talk with each other, and hopefully they will be more than willing to share. We always encourage that, and that usually works out well. So may I ask you to come up again,
Thank you.
and if you're all set, and address I think really the only, obviously, we would always ask that people park cars in a safe manner.
Yeah, I'd like to
allowing-
address that.
Sure.
Right on the most current scheme, right, there's room to park 2 cars in the garage and 2 cars as my fingers are here, all right? Also, I don't know if you have a copy of the grading plan, but the grading plan shows some regrading within the state right-of-way, all right? And if you take a look at the grading plan, I'm telling you this, that, because it's so, the way it's graded, there's room to park one more car in the right-of-way, but well off the shoulder. There's room for at least 2 or 3 cars to park in the right-of-way, again, well off the shoulder. So hopefully that would provide significant relief for one heck of a 4th of July pig roast. Also, Harold, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Haganovich's south line is his rear line.
That is correct.
But is also the neighbor to the south front yard line.
It's part of it,
Right.
yes.
So anticipating some strong urge on the part of the neighbor to construct whatever, right, at the north end of his property, right, it would have to be at least 50 foot back from Mr. Haganovich's rear lot line. That would create a 70-foot separation between 2 structures. I'm not going to say 2 dwellings because I'm not going to dictate if and when he builds and what he builds.
And there is a water course E-pod that exists between this property line, this rear front property line that we're describing, and the ditch that transverses the neighbor's property.
Yeah,
So
also-
that's further going to encumber some of the yard area there that is going to, I'm not going to say it's going to eliminate his ability to build there, but it would be further actions that would have to be entertained by the planning board in order to develop into that area.
Yeah, the question of drainage surfaced, no pun intended, surface drainage. But the grading plan is based on a topography map that was provided by the town at a very small scale. It's a town GIS map. And I think it's reasonably accurate, but I wouldn't trust it for the purpose of plotting accurate grading for this site or any other site along Penfield Road, because the topography lines are out of register, right, with the highway right-of line, which is also shown on that map. Harold knows what I'm talking about. And as I explained in my response to the Planning Review Committee, it would be our intent, right, to do a current topo survey to accurately be able to record the topography as opposed to what I believe is somewhat distorted on the town map. Also, the only comment that was made, I believe, from the Town Planning Review Committee, or Planning Review Committee, was the requirement for a swale along the east property line. Without challenging their ability to read a grading plan, right, you will note that there is a swale already created here, and there's a swale created over here. So we have been sensitive to not discharging any surface water in any direction other than which it is currently directed.
So let me ask you that. What will your client do and you do to prevent a situation from existing, from getting worse, let's say, so that more water flows onto the property to the south?
Well, I think it's fair to say that after this ground surface is nurtured, all right, rather than left to brush with pockets and probably areas with sparse topsoil, that the green area would actually be more absorptive than what is now totally, I call it sagebrush. Also, what has to be taken into consideration, right, is the fact that this row of conifers, all right, which serve more than one purpose. First of all, they serve as a visual screen from Route 441 right, to the proposed residence. But they also create a significantly more efficient absorption bed than grass does. So it's our belief that that the review committee's conclusion is that there will be no significant additional runoff right to the south is a fairly accurate statement.
Harold, I'd like to see something from the review committee on that, because I'd like to know a little bit more about it, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure that we don't make a situation worse than it is now.
Right.
Yeah, additionally, I failed to show there are, I think, 5 mature coniferous trees along this property line. All right? I was unable to plot them accurately, that's why I didn't show them. But if you take a look at the town GIS map, which also shows not only Penfield Road, Penfield Road, the right-of-way lines, the property lines, also shows where dense vegetation, the parameters of dense vegetation. And if you take a look at that map, you'll see that there's a cluster right down in this southeast corner. And last resort, right? It's possible also to put a French drain along the south property line to create a deeper depth of absorption by surface runoff. So there are a number of other, not tricks, but methods of abating surface runoff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, water's got to go, yeah, you could do that.
And we do have to understand this site plan is still in its infancy.
Sure.
And it's going to get matured and provided further detail for the planning board and going forward for their review. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of
there's a lot more work entailed with this.
right.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Anyone else in the audience care to speak about this? Okay, as I said earlier, I'm sure we're going to be tabling this matter pending action by the planning board. Thank you very much.
Application number 2, Dennis Bell, 283 Parkview Drive, Rochester, New York, 14625, requests an area variance from Article 3-3-37-A of the code to allow an existing deck with less setback at 283 Parkview Drive. The property is owned by Dennis Bell and is zoned R-1-20. This is SBL number 108.13-2-14. This is application number 15Z-0001.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dennis Bell. I reside at 283 Parkview Drive. This is my wife Annabelle, and I'm also joined by we are selling our house right now, so we are joined in support by the buyer. We have a site map to hand out to you guys tonight. The issue that we're here for tonight is, we're trying to get an area variance for our deck. It was installed in 2011.
Okay.
And as you can see on the map, our survey there, the deck is on the back of our house, and as you are looking out towards the backyard on the deck, off to the east side of the property, there is a landing, roughly, it's 8 feet long by 3 feet wide, and it has a set of stairs that takes you to that side of the property. And that's what brings us here tonight. It's 7 feet from a property line, the landing is, and the set of stairs, but the rest of the deck is within compliance of the 10 feet from the property line. So we also have from the buyer, a letter that you guys all have in support of this, keeping this landing and the set of stairs. And we are just hoping to get this request granted.
Okay. Questions?
Okay, did you own this home in 2011 when the
Yes.
deck was constructed?
And we bought the house in 2010.
Okay. And in your copy here, you said that it was built at the direction of Lawrence Bell. And your Bell, was it a relative?
He's my father, yes.
Okay, and did he live there at the time?
No, he didn't.
Okay. Was he a contractor?
He's a contractor, and he had 2 men working with him on it.
Okay. If he was a contractor, could you tell us, do you have any idea why no permits were granted at the time?
It was my father did this for us as a wedding gift. It was built in September of 2011, and we went away on our honeymoon, so he apologized to me, and he did it quick, and he did it right, but he did it.
Within the 2 weeks that
Within the
we
2
were
weeks
on
that
our
we were away.
honeymoon in Hawaii. So
So-
it was a surprise when we got home.
He missed that step of the building permit.
Surprise.
Second surprise.
Well, you gave him a second surprise.
Yes, yeah. So,
Okay, well, our staff verified that the deck itself is in compliance. So we're just talking about the steps and the landing?
correct, yep.
Okay. How high off the ground is the deck?
That's a good question. It doesn't, I don't have that here.
Well, approximately, would you say?
Approximately, I would say 3 feet maybe.
3 feet? And how many stairs are we talking about?
There's 2 sets of stairs.
No, the
sets.
stairs that we're talking about, this variance.
There is 5 stairs.
Okay. And what is the,
4.
what
Sorry,
are
there's
they
4.
built of?
4 stairs. It's a Trex deck.
And do you want to explain that?
So it's Trex decking, it's a material composite, yep.
Composite building material.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a low-maintenance deck, no staining deck.
Okay.
It's not wood. but it's-
Okay. I'm more concerned about the stairs than the deck itself.
The stairs are the
are the
same.
same as the deck?
Yep.
Okay. And what shape would you say they're in?
The stairs? Great shape. Good
Great shape?
Mhm.
Okay. And I presume they were constructed at the same time as the deck, everything
Correct.
at
It
once?
was all part of the original plan of the deck.
Okay. And is there more than one set of stairs to this deck?
There is another set.
And where are they?
It's on the west side of the property,
And this is on the what side, the stairs we're talking about?
the east side.
East side. Okay. And is there any kind of buffering between this, between the stairs and the deck and your neighbors?
There's a fence. Yeah.
And how high is the fence?
The fence is 8 feet.
8 feet? Okay. And you said that the steps were 7 feet away from the end of the property line?
6 feet, yes. It's 7 feet away from the property line.
Okay, so you're asking for a 3-foot variance?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when I was there, I saw 2 structures in the yard, which your wife said were 2 sheds. Now, I'm wondering, is the shed in the back, or whatever we're going to call it,
Mhm.
was that actually a shed, or that you just made like
In the
into-
far back?
Yeah.
That was there when we bought the place in 2010. It's a playhouse, I believe they had it as.
You used it as a playhouse?
We did not. We
Nobody
barely
ever used it as a playhouse?
Yeah.
Just a
The
structure?
previous owner had 2 children, and it seemed more like a tree house
Yeah.
that they used it for.
Mhm.
Okay. And I understand that the other shed that's on the right, looking in, was out of compliance, and you moved it?
It is in compliance now. yes.
Okay, and I
It's
guess
on
you're
the map.
supposed to bring us an up-to-date survey?
Yes, that is.
Do you have it?
Yep.
Oh,
what we
okay, this
handed
is right
out.
up to date?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And for the record, we do have the memo sent from the,
The buyer.
yes, from the Buttons, so we'll put that in the record.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Anything else from the board?
Just one question. You said your father was a contractor. Does he hire masons, laborers, carpenters, or is he a mechanical contractor?
These two guys were carpenters.
Okay.
Dave May and Bob Enger.
But your father is a mechanical contractor, or?
He has Bellwood Properties. He does kind of all of it.
Okay.
We do have a company that's separate, a mechanical contracting company.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a famous name in construction.
Yes.
Anybody from the audience care to speak about this? Okay, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 3, Steve Bashan, Pavers Plus Construction, 4483 Walworth, Ontario Road, Walworth, New York, 568, on behalf of Christina Hutch Matthews, requests an area variance under Article 3-3-35-D-1 of the code to allow a barn addition on a substandard sized lot and a building height exceeding 15 feet, or an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use under Article 4-4-16 of the code to allow a barn addition at 2011 5 Mile Line Road. The property is owned by Christina Hutch Matthews and is zoned R-1-15. This is SBL number 124.18-1-87.1. This is application number 15Z-0002.
4483 Walworth, Ontario Road, Walworth, New York. Our proposed plan of work is to maintain the original post and beam structure, placing a new self-supporting wall system on the exterior of the original 1820s barn structure. We also plan to repair the rotting floor system with the reconstruction. Our design will have a code-compliant foundation under the exterior walls with reinforcing the existing post and beam structure, which we want to maintain. Scope of our renovation include removal of the existing deteriorating multi-layer exterior framing, roofing, with leaving the existing post and beam structure. Constructing new wood floor system that ties existing floor to the new floor will reinforce the barn structure. We will frame new load-bearing walls with 2x6 construction to be code compliant in accordance with the architectural plans that I've provided you guys. Add to new walls, we will build new trusses to be code compliant, sheet and shingle the new roof. By adding the addition to the barn about approximately 25 foot by 5 foot, we will structurally tie the two barns together. We're also proposing to pour a new concrete floor in the front of the existing barn to give a parking area. The exterior finishes will be a 4-inch hardy plank lap siding. 3 existing windows will be replaced with the construction.
What's the barn going to be used for?
Just a recreational use. She's going to park her car in there. Storage, she has a lot of craft stuff that she has, and not enough room in the house for it.
What did you say, a lot of craft?
Yeah, craft, arts.
Thank you. Somebody's paying attention out there.
Can you describe the condition of the interior in terms of how safe do you think it is in there currently?
Not very safe. Backside of the barn has been repaired. All the existing post and beam structure is actually being held together with cables inside the barn. So, we want to make this code compliant and, get it up to date, but we don't want to lose the history in it. So that's why our proposed plan is to build a new self-supporting wall system on the exterior. And so we're able to leave the original 1820s post and beam.
I think part of you're going to make a little addition bigger, but you're tearing down the existing, I think it's like the shed roof portion there?
Yeah, there's like an addition, the barn appears to have been, I think it was built in 2 separate times, or maybe even 3 separate times. I think they built the first section of barn in the front of it, and then they built another section of barn, and it doesn't, they're not tied to one another. So they just continue to keep separating, and she's got all kinds of animals, raccoons, cats, you name it in there, making a house.
So that portion of the shed that's being, the shed roof portion that's being torn down, the new addition is going to be taller and
Yes.
larger. How does I guess, what's the need for making it larger when it's already fairly large to start with?
So we can tie the 2 roofs together.
Okay.
It's primarily the whole goal, is structure.
So it'll actually be more structural, it'll
Yes.
hold together better, drainage is better off the roof, things like that?
Correct.
Okay. And you're talking about rebuilding this all is going to bring things up so it'll be more compliant with the current code. I assume you're going to have electrical redone out there as well, so you'll have electrical
Absolutely.
out there and all those things we brought up to code.
Yep.
Has there been any discussion with the historical board? I don't know if Harold can
Yes.
answer that, or if you
Yes,
can.
I meet with them on Thursday.
Okay. That's all I have.
I have a question.
They did informally meet with the historic board in December,
Yes.
but there wasn't adequate time for the proper advertising.
Your mic again, Harold.
Mike, Harold.
There wasn't enough time to advertise for a public hearing, but Jim Costello did present it to the historic board, and I believe he may be having a
Yeah.
site tour with the board
Yes.
this week sometime.
Yes, Thursday.
The post and beam, is that going to no longer be support? Is it more decorative?
It's just going to add to the support. We're going to tie the post and beam to the new self-supporting wall system.
Take out the cables, or are they going to stay?
No, cables are going.
Could you just briefly describe what a self-supporting wall system is?
The new walls are going to be the load bearing of the new trusses. So our new trusses, right now, there's no overhang. The water comes down, goes right down the side of the barn. So we need to make a soffit of sort on this.
So it'd be similar to like what would you have in a residence with studs and the trusses
Correct.
supporting
Correct.
on top, and then the walls attached to that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from the board?
Sounds like it would have been easier to tear it down and build a new one almost.
Well, they want to maintain the history.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why
You know,
the-
they use chisels and axes and tools that aren't used anymore.
And why the 6-inch spread, is that for the studs?
Because the studs are 6 inches, we're using 2x6.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Come on up.
Ed Linskog, 18 High School Drive. I moved into the neighborhood in 1946. I've worked on this barn, and as a youngster, and I worked on the farm. I'm in total support of this project. I think it'll be a wonderful addition to the neighborhood, just to clean up what's there. I knew the former owners, I worked with the former owners, and I want to support this guy strongly in the efforts. I also know the family, Ray Hutch and his wife, who live on the corner of Wayland and 5 Mile Line, and another old house that I've been in. So I want to offer my support. I'm also a member of the Penfield Trails Committee and on the Conservation Board, so I've been following this project along, and I think it's a grand addition to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much.
Got it this time. Pull it around. Application number 4, Ken Fournier, Empire Pizza, 5 Bay Park, Webster, New York, 14580, requests a conditional use permit under Article 3-3-77-A and Article 10-10-4 of the code to allow a pizzeria, Empire Pizza, at 1766 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by Rancher Corporation in Zone GB. This is SBL number 093.15-1-54. This is application number 15Z-0003.
Hiya.
Good evening, how are you?
Good.
I simply am requesting to relocate my existing business directly across the street from the west side of Empire Boulevard to the east side into the Sunrise Plaza.
Okay, you going to change any hours of operation?
Not changing a thing. Hours of operation stay the same, menu stays the same. No new equipment other than a brand-new state-of-the-art exhaust hood.
Okay, that's about the only other thing I was going to ask. Plenty of parking in the,
Plenty of parking.
are you going to have, you have some eat and dining now, right? Couple
Yep,
of-
same
couple
number of
benches.
seats, same
Okay.
square footage.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board?
Just about your sign, how are you gonna advertise now?
Each unit has a sign above it, and they're all the same size. I currently have the sign sitting in the space, ready to be lettered and put up.
Okay, no freestanding sign, just the one on the building itself.
Correct. The plaza itself has a
Sunrise
sign, yeah, and that's it, yep.
Gotcha.
And what is the name of this, the name of your pizza place?
Empire Pizza?
Empire, please.
Yeah,
And
get a
you
little
have
advertisement, let them know when you're going over there, you know?
I
So
told him to
we're
wear a
giving you a
shirt.
chance.
Yeah.
And what about the dumpster? Do you have a dumpster in the back, or will you have?
It is supplied by the building owner. There are,
Okay.
I believe, 3 out there, cardboard
And are they
refuse.
enclosed?
Yes, oh yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Application number 5, Ben Capaldo, 33 Valencia Drive, Rochester, New York, 14606, requests a conditional use permit under Article 3-3-72-A, Article 3-3-74, and Article 10-10-4 of the code to allow a sit-down restaurant with ancillary bar and hours of operation exceeding the listed hours of operation at 1517 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by Josephine Joan DiVincenzo Living Trust and is Zone LB. This is SBL number 108.06-1-5. This is application number 15Z-0004.
Good evening. As he stated, my name is Benjamin Capaldo. I live at 33 Valencia Drive in Gates, New York. In the process of actually renting the property at 1517 Empire Boulevard, formerly Sanibel Cottage. I have Rick DiVincenzo here, the owner, one of the principal owners of the property. And briefly, what I'm trying to do there is just, again, as stated by Harold, a restaurant bar in the back location, banquet area. And I'm just trying to make sure I can get the same hours as other people in the area, such as like McGregor's, who is now open Monday through Sunday till 2 a.m. So I want to make sure I can maybe exactly have those same hours so I can compete with other people in the area. Pretty simple what I'm looking for.
Okay, that's it? Okay.
I could, you know, if you want me to get into lighting and signage.
No, I'll
can-
ask you about that, how's
Okay.
that? It's been a restaurant before, so the lighting's there, your ingress and egress is there, you're gonna have an ANSO system, am I correct?
Correct, it's in there.
And how about your sign? What are you gonna
The
do?
signage that's there now, I'm going to use the exact same signage that the board's already approved.
Okay.
That's
so
out front
you're
and
gonna
on the
have a
building.
sign that's approved, you're not gonna go for a bigger sign? it's
No,
just
no, I'm going to go
the sign.
exactly with what's there.
Okay, and did you, do you have any intentions of music or anything there?
I do intend occasionally to maybe do some live entertainment. I did have Tom, the fire marshal, over this afternoon with me
Okay.
and Rick to walk through. He said he would have to make a decision on
Yeah,
some of that
right,
stuff.
because I was gonna say you have to get together with the fire marshal when it has anything to do with.
Tom
Now-
and Jeff walked through this afternoon with me and Rick to look over the property, and he said he would have to make a decision on what actually could be done.
Okay, and what are you looking at for, you're looking till 2 o'clock every night?
I'd like to be the same as McGregor's, which is less than a mile away. You know,
7
that-
days a week, though, I'm asking you
Yeah,
exactly what you want.
I'm looking for that, yeah, 7
Okay.
days a week.
From what time till what time?
From 11 a.m. till 2 a.m.
11 a.m. to 2 a.m., okay.
The board is probably aware there's been other restaurants there that have been open till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
in the
before,
past.
though, what happened was they only had it from like Thursday to Sunday and during the week, because that's in a different zone, right, Harold? What,
Oh, you mean when Sanibel's got approved?
Yeah.
for it? No, it's not in a different zone. McGregor's is in a different zoning district.
Okay.
So the town board went through the approval process on allowing them to be open.
so
until-
they were the lead agency rather than,
At McGregor's?
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, he can come to us instead of going to
In this case, he's just at the edge of the change and transition of the LaSalle's Landings zoning district, and in this case, a limited business zoning district.
Okay. Sorry, had to clear up a little of why you needed this or why they didn't get it before, okay? And again, let's get back to the music. Are you going to have music every night?
No, my intentions are maybe, maybe a Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
Some of the special holidays, maybe around, the day before Thanksgiving seems to be a big day, or maybe when the jazz festival's going on downtown, or, it won't be an everyday thing. It'd be more strictly towards the weekends.
Okay. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to ask a question because it's relevant to it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Cut right in.
My understanding, or my recollection from when this was approved before, I think there's some kind of additional soundproofing, isn't there, for that structure?
Rick can answer that better
I
than
remember
I
that
can.
came up when Sanibel was,
Yeah, Rick, why don't you come on up? I know you have a
that may help, Joe.
hefty voice, but
He doesn't
we
need a mic- he
do
doesn't need a
need you to get up right here so we can see.
We
what
can
they
hear
go
you, but almost the television audience almost can.
The rear building that he is now going to be, it used to be the party house, he's going to change it into a sports bar type idea. It has 10-inch block walls, okay? Then it has steel stud framing with another 6 inches of soundproofing insulation, double insulation on the roof, inside fire code drywall, acoustical ceilings. So at one time, we had the town come out with a meter read, and we actually blasted the stereo system inside as loud as it can go, and they didn't even get a reading on the meter. So it's quite the,
That's what I.
it's a solid building, it really is. And on the sides, there's very small windows, they don't get opened up, they're high up, like kind of for light. And the windows on the other side are on the parking lot side. Both sides of the property are buffered by a extensive stockade fence, and trees and shrubs and everything else. So there's buffering on both sides. On the parking lot side, even though that's now commercial, it's the roofing business right there. The driveways and stuff, they're all existing. It was all done to the Department of Transportation. They designed it. We built it the way they wanted it built. It's worked well. It's very wide, easy coming in, easy coming out. You got a good view when you look to your right. You got a good view when you look to your left. We've been there for 24 years. It's been nice there. Everything's always run good there, so Ben's just coming in and wants to switch the idea, wants to take used to be the dining up front, bring it into the back, and maybe some small stuff in the front building. The rear building is big, spacious, nice, and he can do a lot with it. And his hours he's looking for is he's trying to compete with them, and I can understand that he's going to have, when you have your sports stuff going on, you have your football games, they run late and so forth, stuff like that. And if you close at a time, people are going to pass you up. They're going to head right down the hill, and they're going to go there because they know they're going to be open long to watch the games, to watch the stuff, all the football games, all basketball, whatever. So that's why he's requesting the later time. We are right on the edge, on the like you said, we are on the line of what Harold was talking about, on the front and on the back. It surrounds our property. It's kind of funny, but it does. It surrounds our property. So we're right within them. We've done everything that they do. Everything's well kept up, nice looking, and Harold's going to continue that. I'm sorry, Ben's going to continue that. So he has we've discussed stuff, he has a lot of great ideas. It's going to be a very nice place. I think it'll be a heck of an asset. Got all those apartments, everything going in. There's going to be a walkway that comes right up to the rear of our property and so forth. So I understand all the sidewalks are going across front. It's going to be really nice neighborhood thing.
Good.
So.
I just have one more question for Ben. On your outside dining, you want outside dining?
The outside area where the patio is,
Uh-huh.
I know in the past, they were allowed to go outside and eat or drink up until 11 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm actually fine with that.
Okay.
The upstairs, the front of the place, I'm going to use more probably for either wine and dine. People want to get away from some of the sports and say, I just want to come in and eat and relax, or more of a private party with 30, 40 people. Go up front, relax. You can have the whole front area to yourself. Go outside on the patio, have a drink, relax.
Yeah, and go smoke or something, but
Definitely.
I want to make sure that you get what you want. Do you understand what
too.
I'm saying? So that it's why, well, no, if you're going to come in and then you're going to find something you didn't ask for and you want it, now you're gonna have to come back, you're gonna have to file an application, so I'm just going by what what you had.
Right.
Okay, I'm reading his contract, so that's why I'm asking you about it.
Yeah, obviously, the hours are critical, as Rick stated. Sometimes, we'll say a boxing event don't start till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or an MMA event. Obviously, someone's gonna drive right by at 9:30 and say, I can't even go in. I'll just go down the hill, less than a mile, and you can hang out down there.
Yeah, I think your idea was more of a restaurant, his is more of almost like a sports bar.
Well, his is.
So that's why,
His is gonna be.
that's why
by far
I
better.
see the difference in the hours and,
Yes.
and the people that come in, so I understand it. Okay, that's all I had.
You have this thing about remodeling the back building.
I do.
Are you going to do anything with the restrooms?
Up front? Yeah, it's definitely got to be updated. It's in pretty good shape, but it definitely needs some paint work and some cleaning up. I'm definitely got to get in there and do some scrubbing and some painting.
Yeah, because I know that when Sanibel was there was always this big long line, at least at the ladies' room, into
I
the,
can't touch
That's
the back
worldwide.
dining area. He's sort of set on, he loves the way his mother set that up, so I won't touch the back dining area.
The rear building where he is going to do everything has two set, a ladies' room and a men's room with 3 stalls each in each one.
Right.
So by him moving back there, he's now has that all, they didn't used to be able to go back there, or they didn't let him go back there. But there's a big bathroom set up for where he is going to put his main area.
And up front, there were just the 2
Yeah,
bathrooms,
there's 2 bathrooms in the
unisex, so if you needed it, you were waiting, basically, to use it.
right, and there were always long lines.
They should have let him use the 6 more toilets in the back building.
Were there in the beginning, though?
There was
'cause
3.
I can re-
When I originally was there, without the back building, there used to be 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Then when Sanibel did it, that wasn't, we ran it to Sanibel, then they had the one's gone, they had the 2, they put the bar up top, and now Ben's going in the back with it, which where all the party room bathrooms were. So there's a lot of bathroom space, so it's much better. So he'll
It
have
will
a
be
total
much
in the
better.
building of 8 bathrooms.
It actually just
Eight
makes more
stalls.
sense to put everything in the back. Up front, it was cluttered, it was cramped, and you were limited. In the back, you have the space, you're not as limited. It'll come down to whether the board approves the hours or not, whether I proceed or move on. Really
Okay.
what it comes down to.
And what are you going to name this?
I've been getting beat up on this for weeks, but I want to go with the recovery room.
Should we ask her what it's gonna be named?
And she doesn't agree with
If you want
that.
to go with the Guido names, Goodfellows or Corleones, that's fine, I don't want it. But I'd rather stick with the recovery zone, it's simple, recovery room, it's simple name. I don't want to get, I can put my last name on there, I don't think it really holds any relevance though.
When were you gonna open?
Well, I mean, it's going to take at least 2 months to get a liquor license, so we're looking
Okay.
at least that time frame. It's going to take me at least 2 months to get the bar in the back, pending approval, get some flooring in, painting, lights, TVs, and get him out. It's going to take a little while.
Okay.
What kind of menu do you anticipate having?
It's similar to what you got at McGregor's, your wraps, your
Okay.
paninis, some pizza, your specials, your soup of the day. Typical type menu you would get at other, the Empire Bar and Grill,
Yeah.
Beale Street, similar to them.
Okay, and which of your competitors has entertainment or music?
I've been to McGregor's when it had entertainment. I don't know
Okay.
if they still do it now.
What kind of entertainment have you seen?
It was rock and roll when I went there.
Band?
It was a live band, yeah. They set them up in the back underneath one of the screens.
Okay.
This goes back, 6, 7 years since I've been in there. And I thought back then, obviously, it was small, but also extremely loud for how small it was. So it was more detrimental to your hearing
Yeah.
than it was to the outside environment.
Would you anticipate if you had music there, live music, having a dance floor?
I'm not going to put a dance floor in.
Okay.
And I talked to the fire marshal, I mean, he said he would come up with specs if I wanted to. So I'm going to sort of lean on his expertise to not overstep any bounds and set it up the way he would say would flow with that, so people can still get to the exits and stuff, in case there is ever an issue.
And I think there's also entertainment occasionally at Flaherty's.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, and this is really just I'm just asking for your opinion. Would you consider this more of a bar or a restaurant?
No, for the most part, it's going to be more people just coming in with their families, sitting down and eating.
Okay.
Like you would almost get it almost at Applebee's in a way, but you got TVs all over in case people want to come in. The entertainment, sports part of it tends to happen more later on, 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
Sure.
Where people and families are tending to go home and relax, and other people are like, let's go out, just getting out of work, let's unwind, let's watch a game, let's listen to some music or something. That tends to happen between maybe 9 and like 12 or 1.
Okay. Have you ever engaged in this kind of business before?
Well, my parents owned a bar restaurant back when I was a little kid.
Okay.
But I was the grunt, so I had to stock the bar and clean the kitchen, and back then we had to carry the bottles up and down the steps.
Yeah.
For the distributors.
All right. Hard work, I'm sure you know that, but,
yeah.
and obviously, we would like to do what we can to promote good business in the town, but we also want safe environments, and, but I'm sure you're well aware of that.
I got to think now and then, you guys probably don't get out of here at 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to be closed when you're leaving here if you want to come and eat.
Okay. I live within walking distance of all these places, so that's.
I won't offer you anything free, but
Don't worry
come on
about
in.
it. Okay, any other questions from the board? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Come on up.
Ed Linsco, 18 High School Drive. I wasn't going to speak on this one, but this sounds like such a great idea, and I've got a young family of grandchildren that participate in this kind of stuff. I'm totally in favor of approval for this. And I hope you guys grant him his approvals he wants. I don't patronize McGregor's because I don't drink anymore, but I used to eat at this place. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
I don't drink either.
All right, anyone else in the audience? Thank you very much. Next application, please.
Application number 6, Timothy Hens, 7319 Quinlan Road, Leroy, New York, 14482. On behalf of Dr. Raul Rengen, requests area variances from Article 3-3-68-C and Article 4-4-11 of the code to allow the construction of an orthodontist office with less setback and smaller parking spaces, and a special permit for signage under Article 7-7-3 from Article 7-7-12-B and Article 7-7-12-E of the code to allow a larger freestanding sign with less setback at 2124 Penfield Road. The property is owned by Gordon Griffin and zoned BNR. This is SBL number 139.08-1-67. This is application number 15Z-0005.
Good evening. I'm Tim Hens, 7319 Quinlan Road, Leroy. I'm professional engineer representing Dr. Raul Rengen, who is proposing to develop a approximately 3,275 square foot orthodontic office at the corner of Harris Whalen Park Road and Penfield Road. The lot is currently a residential lot. It is about 0.53 acres in size, so it's a fairly small lot for a commercial development. The lot is currently zoned BNR, so there is no zoning change required for the lot. What we're looking for is a variance on the front setback. It is a corner lot on a state highway, so in that zone it is an 80-foot requirement, which takes up a predominant portion of the lot if you were to apply it on that corner. We're also looking for a variance on the dimensions of the standard parking stall. Your code calls for 9 foot by 20 foot. We're looking for a 9 foot by 18 foot, which is a standard size used in other areas outside of the town of Penfield.
And it's my understanding you're not going to be getting into the signs despite the advertising? Or we're just talking setbacks?
We're just talking building setbacks, and we are actually going to adjourn the sign application and come back in February with a separate application packet for the exterior signage.
Just wanted to make that clear.
So, basically, the width of the right-of-way along Penfield Road is fairly wide, and again, applying the 80-foot setback from the state highway would put you fairly well back into the lot. What we are proposing is to have a 30-foot setback along Penfield Road and a 22-foot setback along Harris Whalen Park Road. That would be from the highway line. The town has asked us to use a rear access drive, an internal access drive, a cross access drive, which will eventually connect future development along Penfield Road using a rear access drive rather than your standard driveways off the state highway or off of Harris Whalen Park Road. That also kind of limits us with where we can place the building on the lot, and also limits us where we can place the parking. So we're kind of trying to squeeze everything in the best we can. We've got a fairly decent looking building, and I think you'll be pleased once things move forward.
Okay, and I presume in order to have, well, maybe I shouldn't presume. If you use the standard 20 by 9, is it?
9 by 20, yeah.
9 by 20, would you be able to get the number of spaces you need for parking with this?
Well, I believe we meet the number now. Right, we meet the requirements now for the number of spaces. It's just the actual size. We're really restricted by we're trying to maximize the setback as well as, accommodate some of the requests we got from the planning board in terms of the sidewalk width and landscaping and things like that. So the 9 by 18 really allows us to work the way we have it planned. We could potentially squeeze a 9 by 20 in if we were to move the parking right to the property line and potentially narrow the sidewalk along the parking lot side of the building. The planning board asked for a 7-foot sidewalk. I feel engineering-wise, you could go to a 5-foot sidewalk, and we could also move the parking right to the property line, and the planning board has actually mentioned that, but that would not allow us adequate space for site lighting. The planning board asks for site lighting that does not conflict with parking spaces. So in order to place the site lighting adequately and not have the parking right on the lot line, we have basically a 3-foot setback on that parking. So there is some wiggle room in terms of the actual, getting that 9 by 20 space. But again, a 9 by 18 I've seen used in many instances, across Western New York. So we would prefer to stick with the variance. Additionally, another option would be to narrow the drive aisle and the backing aisles. We have a 24-foot aisle, which is fairly standard. That could potentially be reduced to a 20-foot, but I think for backing purposes, you're better off having the wider aisle.
Okay, so it is possible, but there'd be
I
compromise.
just want to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly, because the site data says that the spaces are 10-foot wide.
They are actually, I'm sorry, you are correct. They are 10-foot
And
wide.
not that that's a bad thing, because you're exceeding
Yeah.
the minimum.
Your first rodeo, buddy?
Gosh, yeah, I know, please. Someone's got to tie a string to my finger, I think.
You are correct. They are, originally we had proposed 9-foot wide, but we did have the room to go to 10. So they are
Okay.
10 by 18, I'm sorry. You're
Okay.
correct.
Beautiful. I just want to make sure that what we're looking at, the site data wasn't being changed, but having 9-foot wide will actually give you more parking spaces.
Right,
Because
right.
you're reducing the number.
All right, and I take it you've tried different alternate approaches as far as building shape and where to locate them in the parking, and this comes out to be the most efficient?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And again, that rear cross-access driveway kind of limited us in terms of our footprint when you're factoring in the parking and the size of the lot.
Particularly on the front setback on Penfield.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That's all I have.
Anything else from the board?
I have one.
Sure.
This rear patio in the back, is this just going to be for your staff?
The doctor intends to use it, I believe he's intending to use it for a pickup area for, children that are dropped off for orthodontic work. Kind of a hangout place to wait for mom and dad to pick them up if that's what happens. It could be used by staff. It's basically just a recreation, hangout area.
Do you know how large it will be?
Not off the top of my head, but approximately, I would say 20 by 28.
Okay.
How many people are going to work here in the building at any one time?
I believe you had five employees.
Okay.
One orthodontist?
Come on up.
There he is.
Come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Hiya.
I'm Rahul Ranjan. I'm the orthodontist looking to develop my office here. It'll be 5 staff members to start, and just by myself. Yeah. The
How
only
many
one.
rooms? Just
There's 6 treatment rooms that are used throughout the day, at varying times and varying intervals. Yeah.
Okay. Going to be a busy guy.
Yeah, I hope so.
Is this a new business?
It is. I've been practicing for some time, but this is my first practice. Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
See what a nice smile he has?
Yeah, I see that.
noticed that. Great teeth.
He should.
Who do you go to?
Anything else from the board? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that was the last hearing, so we'll adjourn for a few moments and reconvene in the back of the room. Thank you all very much. Set to go?
Sure.
Number one?
We got a table?
Yeah, I'm giving Andres a minute to make a motion to table.
Oh. Make a motion to table it until planning board comes back.
Okay.
Mike second.
And council, we can't make a finding on seeker yet either, obviously, right?
Right, not if you're the,
No,
the
we're
planning
not.
board's gonna be the lead agency.
Right.
So they're gonna be the one to make the finding,
So just tabling without any seeker action is fine.
tabling until they've made their secret determination.
All right, so we have a motion to table in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number two.
Okay, I move that this is a type 2 action. It's not subject to review and no further action is required.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the application itself?
Okay, whether a non-desirable change is produced? No, it's been there since 2011. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other feasible method? Yes, it could be removed. Whether the variance is substantial? No, I don't think the 3 feet is all that substantial. Whether it will have an adverse effect? No. Whether the difficulty was self-created? Yes. However, since it has been there since 2011, the yard is totally enclosed and with a fence all around. So I'm going to move that we grant the 3-foot variance.
Second.
The only one thing, though, that I want to add to this is this black shed that they've turned into a playhouse that has been there, that should come down, because when you look at it, it is pretty bad looking. And they've never used it anyway. So I don't know if the new people would be using it. I don't know if they have kids or not. But it is a structure.
I'll tell you, the discussions I've had with them has been that they want to take it down.
Oh, good.
Who's they?
The new property.
people.
The new
The new property. owners.
I would think so.
That
It's
was
really.
Are they here
nice.
still?
No, she left.
Oh, do you know that to be true, that that's
Just said that in the hallway.
their intention to take it down?
We've
So-
never used it either.
What Carol is proposing is to make a condition of approval that come down.
Prior to us closing.
Well, within a reasonable time after trans, you know.
Okay.
And you're comfortable speaking with them? I don't want the deal to,
I think the way she said it tonight, that they want to get rid of it, so.
okay.
Yeah, that was
I
her
think
comment to
anybody
me.
would want to get rid of it, frankly, if anybody
They're
saw it.
closing on a Friday the night, so.
Correct.
Okay, so if we say to take it down, remove it within a reasonable period of time,
Okay.
Generally, for
So
this
that's
kind
my
of work in
motion.
code enforcement, we give them until like July, just to get past the winter and then the heavy
Did
rain.
you hear that? We'll give you till almost July to get
Well,
past
they're
the
not-
winter.
they're
It'll be long gone by July.
I know, but they can pass that along to the new owners.
That was the discussions I had with the property owner.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Any other conditions? All right, we have a motion to approve with condition, and did we get a second?
I second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Happy new house.
number 3.
Barn, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Make a motion to grant negative declaration. I don't know if there's any impacts.
Okay, do we have to make a finding as to what type it is, Pete? I don't know if we do.
Well, it looks like, well, let's see.
I wrote
It's
it.
either an unlisted or a type 2, depending on if it would be an unlisted, I think if it's an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use, otherwise it would be a type 2.
Okay.
So, it depends which direction you're gonna go, I guess.
Expansion.
Okay.
So unlisted and no significant impacts?
Neg deck.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Then I'm gonna make a motion to approve the expansion. I think it's a great benefit to the area. The way it looks right now, it could use the upgrade, and it's gonna be more compliant, which is, being more compliant is great for our area, so I think I see it as a positive.
I'll second.
Yeah, done good work in other areas too, these folks, so.
Actually, it's a condition to be greater compliant now.
That's true.
So-
And we've often used making a property better looking is a justification for
Yes.
that. That's a good point.
It says more just.
And do you want me to also say an unsafe structure?
Sure,
Yeah,
making it safe, sure, that's certainly more in compliance. All right, so we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Number 4, the pizza one is a tough one.
Yeah, it's a little, kinda, you know.
I suppose, is that a type 2 action?
Probably unlisted, actually.
Or unlisted? All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that there's no significant impact and we should issue a neg deck on that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then I would make a motion to approve. It's really a simple move, literally across the street. They own and operate a good place now, and I anticipate that will continue.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck. You already leave?
Yep.
Oh, there it is, yeah, good luck. Okay, and number 5.
Number 5, let's see. I believe this is an unlisted action. I make a motion, it's an unlisted action.
I'll second.
A neg deck?
Neg deck.
Okay, negative declaration, because no significant impacts. We have a motion for that and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. And I'll make a motion, we accept it, that we grant him the hours that he wants. If it becomes too excessive or too out of hand, I'm sure noise ordinances and other things will come into play. But as of right now...
7 days a week, right?
Yeah, 7 days a week. And that's about all he asks for. You know, sit-down restaurant, of course.
Hey, Harold, may I ask, have we given, I'll just continue to use the phraseology we're using, competitors in that area. Have we given them trial periods for live music and, you know, see how everything goes, or did we just?
Well, with any of these conditional use permits, the board can make it a condition that they come back to them after a period of time, whatever time that you
Yeah.
want to do
I mean,
it.
I don't anticipate any issues here, but I just want to sort of treat everybody consistently, and I just don't remember whether we did it.
No, generally we don't, and you know, but you can. Obviously, if there's code enforcement issues, one of our procedures that we could use is bringing the applicant back to the board for revocation of their permit, along with going through the regular court administrative processes for code enforcement activities. So we have
Right.
some discretion.
Not always the swiftest procedure. Through the fault of no one, before I
That's
get
right.
yelled at.
That's right, through the fault of nobody, that's the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we do have in this type of a situation where a board of jurisdiction is granting approval, we have the ability to have a process for code enforcement going to courts and coming back to the board of jurisdiction. So,
Yeah.
you know, so
Okay.
that can happen regardless of any time frame that we provide on the conditional
All
use
right.
permit.
Okay. All right, well, one condition that I would suggest is no dance floor.
Yeah.
I asked him
okay.
that, he says no interest in doing that, so I would suggest that we make that a condition.
Okay, I agree to that.
Okay?
Second? Alrighty.
Yeah. Any other discussion? We have a motion to approve with condition and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, geez. Where are you? Where did you
I'm
go?
left, I'm still-
Oh, you're left. You meeting with did he say he's gonna meet with the fire marshal?
They
He
just
did
forwarded
meet with
it
the fire
today.
marshal.
I thought he said he was gonna give me his
Well, we're
comment.
getting some more information, but he just came today, and he's just giving us the amount of people that could be.
All right, so a standard condition will be approval by the fire marshal.
Under state law, the fire marshal has to periodically go into these structures on
Right.
a regular basis.
Okay, so we're all set there. All right, thanks. Number 6?
I'm not sure if this is a type 2 or unlisted. I think you said unlisted in your notes. It seems like a type 2 to me.
Well,
Yeah.
as a special permit for signage, I think that, but now that we're not going forward with that, then it becomes a type.
So I would move the type 2 action, that there's no significant problems and the issue of neg deck.
Second.
All those in favor?
Okay, I would have moved to approve both the smaller parking spaces and the 2 setback variances. That would be 50 feet from Penfield Road, 30 feet. So there are 50-foot variance, 30-foot setback on Penfield Road, and a 58-foot variance, 22 feet from Harris Woodland Park. I think, I don't see any significant impact to the area. It's obviously turning from commercial residential to almost all commercial, and it seems to me that they got a good plan for maximum use of that property, given the size, and I don't think it's gonna be detrimental. I think it's gonna be an improvement to the neighborhood.
Yeah, just, you know, another step in that development in that area. We've dealt with that a lot, and it's coming along nicely.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor?
Who's the second?
Carol.
Carol.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, good luck with that.
great, so we have one table.
Your new business.
Good
luck, you kid.
Yes, one table, one adjourned. Do we have anything else on yet?
Well, what was adjourned?
The signs for
The signs for this last one.
They're gonna
He's
reapply,
gonna
so
come
it's
back.
not
He's gonna
really
reapply,
adjourned.
so.
All right, so it's really withdrawn.
Yeah, it's not really
Yeah.
tabled.
It's a new,
Yeah,
it's gonna
not
be a new
tabled. That's not
application.
table, it's more of adjourned, but I do have to republish because
Yeah.
they're using other components of the code
Okay.
for approvals.
All right, so other than those two,
Are they gonna reapply?
Excuse me?
Are they gonna reapply for the signs?
Yes.
The new application?
So we can get rid of all this?
Yeah.
how about next month? How's that looking so far?
What was the
One
application?
person that called me, and I was just like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, we have another
remember
week and a
what it
half
was.
before the submission
They're all
deadline's
gonna wait till
over.
the last minute, always.
Forgot about that. We're early this
Yeah,
month.
we're early, yeah.
For you know who.
Yes.
It's not gonna be around for next month either.
Okay.
But we have
We're
been
working
especially
up
with
the
one applicant so far, on top of the ones that we already have in our.
All right, well, keep us posted. By the way, the electronic delivery of this is awesome.
Yeah.
Working out great.
Yeah.
The
Very
opening of it
convenient.
wasn't a problem once you used Firefox?
That is true, but actually it's, Tammy's taking care of it, so.
Okay.
But that's gonna change.
I was gonna say, that, oh, you were.
I know. I've been so
When's
lucky.
your last day?
Friday.
Friday.
And then do you start right out Monday, or do you have
Yeah.
a?
Still on
Starting out
TV.
Monday. That's okay.
Okay.
All right.
The other option, if you're still with Monroe County and they still have a problem with the email through that, is to email it to yourself at home, put it on a flash drive.
Yeah.
Because, and then just, you can take it wherever you need to get it from there.
Okay.
You know?
I'm not gonna be with them anymore, but I'm probably.
Or just find somebody who's relatively
Yeah, or-
techie savvy over at the new office.
Right, right.
I can tell you, I do know some, Julie Tolar used to work up here in our offices. She works over there at the organization.
At RGRTA? Oh, great.
And she's a GIS analyst down there.
Oh, well, fantastic. She'll help out, I'm
So
sure.
she's probably techie savvy.
Okay, anything else? Well, we're all set then. We'll adjourn until the next meeting. Thank you all very much.